Hi, my name is Isabella Sarna and I'm the Cybersecurity Specialist here at SolutionsPT. In this Tech Byte, we'll be looking into more security tips for AVEVA and non-AVEVA environments. So here are some OS hardening techniques. So what I'd normally do is isolate the OT network. So this means segregating the OT network from other networks such as the IT network and the internet. Here we can use firewalls, VLANs, and network zoning to prevent unauthorized access and limit lateral movements of threats. Regular patch management, so keeping the OT systems, operating system, and software up to date with the latest security patches, prioritizing critical security updates to close known vulnerabilities, installing only the necessary software and services, so disabling or removing any unnecessary features, protocols, or applications that could serve as potential entry points for attackers. Harden to define standard, so for example, Microsoft MSFT works with limited delta changes. Making sure you disable default accounts, change default passwords, and enforce strong password policies. Implement strict access controls and limit user privileges to the minimum required for their roles. So use role-based access controls to ensure users have access only to the resource necessary for their tasks. Encrypt sensitive data both in transit and at rest, so to protect it from unauthorized access. Set up comprehensive logging and monitoring to detect and respond to suspicious activities or security breaches promptly. Harden remote access, take regular backups and have an incident response and disaster recovery plan. Security awareness training and endpoint security. If you're using OPC UA with the AVEVA tools, there are options for locking down and implementing a reverse tunnel. With the AVEVA Communications Driver 2023, there is a communication feature of OPC UA Reverse Connect, which strengthens the security and architecture when using OPC UA server. This feature allows connections to be originated from the server using certificate-based encryption, providing a solution for highly secure environments. Here is a video from our partners in California. The link will be in the description below. OPC UA certificates are used for encrypting, decrypting, and signing the data, as well as identification for the OPC UA server and the client applications. The applications use certificates to identify each other and proceed establishing a secure channel, and then the data is encrypted. The certificates are then utilized in an asymmetric encryption process, which is a mechanism used by asymmetric cryptography for the encrypting data with the public key of an entity and for decrypting data with an associated private key. The choice of when to use a CA-issued certificate versus a self-signed certificate depends on the installation and site requirements. Asymmetric cryptography, also known as public key cryptography, is an algorithm that uses a pair of keys, a private key that is kept a secret, and a public key that is generally made available. In this method, two applications use keys to encrypt data and the private keys to decrypt and sign the data. In this asymmetric key agreement algorithm, both applications send their own public key to each other. Feel free to pause the video if you want to see a full worked example. Engineering out OPCDA due to DCOM, this should be high up on your priority list, as the changes to Windows over the last 2 years have made moving from OPCDA to UA a must. We have already made a Tech Byte. You can find the link in the description below. In this architecture, there are several potential security vulnerabilities that could be exploited by attackers to gain unauthorized access to the network or to cause damage to critical production systems. One, being able to make mods from the corporate network. This isn't good, as you could also then ping the PLCs on the network and you could perform a denial of service attack if you wanted. This can be resolved by limiting access only to authorized users, along with using segmentation so the PLCs are isolated from the corporate network. There is no sort of VPN used for the 3G routers, so the traffic isn't encrypted for when the users access the dashboards from home. A VPN could be introduced here. There are outdated operating systems. Here they use Windows XP and Windows 2003, which are no longer supported by Microsoft. This is a security risk as these systems are more vulnerable to cyber attacks due to the lack of security updates. They could remedy this by upgrading to a supported version of Microsoft or using tools to improve monitoring and access controls. There is also open remote access. The use of VNC client for the machine vendors to remotely log in to check the PLCs and the machines is a potential security vulnerability. VNC has been known to have its security flaws in the past, and the remote access should be secured through secure VPNs or other secure remote access methods like Clarity SRA. There is an unsecured Wi-Fi routers. The use of an unsecured Wi-Fi routers for corporate laptops and tablets can make it easier for attackers to gain unauthorized access to the network. This can be resolved by using encryption and implementing security controls, so for example, authentication. There is a lack of segmentation on the network. The corporate and the plant network are not segmented. This means that the attacker who gains access to one of the networks may be able to easily move across to gain access to the other network. You could use a DMZ here, letting the traffic up into the corporate network, but also communicating to the OT network. It doesn't look like there's been any regular security updates, and the patching is really important to know that vulnerabilities are addressed and potential security weaknesses are mitigated. So patching can be pushed out by a WSUS server for Microsoft updates, and this is the easiest way to distribute the updates. There is no indication of intrusion detection and prevention systems in place, which could help detect and prevent unauthorized access or activity on the network. Here you could use Silence, Clarity CTD, or SRA for this. The roaming plant tablet for Insight connects via the corporate Wi-Fi, and this is part of the plant network. Here is an example of a secure architecture where we use the AVEVA portfolio along with Tenable and Silence. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or want to arrange a chat to discuss what we've been over in this video, feel free to get in touch with us here at SolutionsPT.